Lemondogs on the blue side, Evil Geniuses, of course, on the red side. Now, right now, just to remind you, Lemondogs 3 for 4, EG 2 for 5. If EG win this, they will actually be tied on wins, at least, with the Lemondogs. Not quite on the losses. Obviously, the league goes by win-loss ratio, technically. But for Lemondogs, a win, as we said, would really cement that mid-table position.
And that's definitely where they want to be right now. As we talked about these early stages of the tournament, it's mostly just, or the series rather, it's working towards the playoffs. It's working towards that position where you can earn a spot in the playoffs and then earn a spot in the World Championships. Right now, Lemondogs, Zoro on his Malphite is very, very strong during the promotion tournament, not quite as dominant at the LCS, and he's opted to go for Flash Teleport, so keep that in mind as we see the game progress.
Yeah, no doubt we'll see that teleport called into action here. Let's see what happens at level 1, as already a couple of wards are down. One
thing that I do note is that Tabs is running Flash Barrier on his Vayne, so he's more scared of burst damage, which I find quite interesting when you consider it's a Morgana and a Zac and a Ezreal. Yeah, if he gets hit by a lot of abilities, there will be a lot of damage going down, but I definitely think a cleanse would probably have been a little bit more effective. Get out of that dark binding, maybe get some of the slowdown from Lulu, and more importantly, cleanse off the exhaust that gets put on him. That's going to be very, very important as the game rolls on.
Well, we'll see if that comes to maybe haunt him later on, or whether we say, good choice, Tabs, Barrier saved you again.
Very, very good point. We'll count the times that he survives or not.
So let's have a look then at the starts here for the junglers. We can see Dexter starting off with his Wraiths. Wicked going to be doing exactly the same over the other side as Wicked takes away the big one from him. And Zoro headed up towards the top lane. Snoopy is going to be starting off with the blue. So, opposite side starts here for both Nautilus and Jarvan.
Yeah, and also straight up matches. So 1v1s and 2v2s. So we're not going to see any of the lane shenanigans that we have been seeing. Yellow, Pete, and Crepo getting to lane a little bit later than that of Tabs and We Will Failer. So they will be a little bit behind on CS. You can actually see them pushing the wave a little bit more aggressively in these opening stages, pretty much to try and balance out the difference that double golems gives. So here is Tabs hitting level 2. And Froggen actually with a very good ward. That's very early on. And if Dexter goes a little low, he still has his smite. So look to see if Snoopy, as well as Wicked and Froggen, maybe try to contest this blue buff.
Well, right now Dexter is going to kick that one off. Not going to know that ward is there. We'll see if anything can happen from this one. Snoopy is actually headed down right now. Newdog does have smite. Snoopy doesn't have smite, so that might be the problem. And actually, Dexter's already going to have it away.
Yeah, it got there a little bit too late. So even though the vision was very, very good, the timing was inopportune, so it didn't work out for them. Snoopy can roll into this mid lane, eats a charm for his troubles, takes a lot of damage. Ignite is down on him, and Nuktak is almost going to pick up double buffs.
Well, there goes the dark binding, and wow, a flash away there from Froggen. I think that dredge line was actually in his direction, so would have connected onto him, and that could have been a little bit dangerous. But some early summoner spells coming out there, and I think Snoopy and Froggen looked like the communication there was a little bit off.
I think that there was no actual gank there. The fact that Nuktak was already backing away from the lane, he was moving towards the tower and getting, to safety. Froggen would have needed to land at a dark binding and then followed up with a knockup or vice versa. And basically, Snoopy just, he broadcasted his attack to the world, and Nuktak just landed a pretty simple charm at the end of the day.
So this bottom lane already going to be pushed out there as Froggen again. That's what he does with Lux so well here. He goes into those crevices where the fog of war in this mid lane doesn't quite see you and just throws those bindings out, whether it's a light binding or a dark binding in this one. But that's something that Froggen does do very, very well in lane. He's out of mana here though, and that's going to be a bit of a problem for him, at least until he gets that next blue up.
And mana on Morgana is part of the reason that she's not quite as popular in the current state of the metagame. Because her mana costs are still very, very high, they have actually been tweaked 1 or 2 patches ago. I can't recall exactly, but the dark binding mana cost went down, the Soul Shackles mana cost went down, but you can see already just with a little bit of spamming in lane, Froggen is, and he's waiting for that blue buff.
Yeah, started off obviously with that Crystalline Flask, which gives you the mana as well as that health, obviously in smaller quantities though.
But it is rechargeable, which also plays into his favor.
Which, you've got to... Obviously, it has its plus and its minus points when you compare it to other things. Right now, Snoopy is headed towards his top lane. Zoro is camping in the brush.
in terms of leveling up, interestingly, Froggen has gone 2-2-1. Now, Wicked has picked a fight with Zoro0. The knockup is flashed away.
Yeah, that's a really good flash there from Zoro0. Wicked actually on a slingshot in there, does a bit more damage, but Zoro0 will be able to back off. Flash burnt, though, so that's a nice spell to be brought out there from Froggen. He wasn't even there. Snoopy, who obviously ganked on that lane. But we can see now that Tabs, as he levels up, he has started to push this lane back, whereas Yellow Pete and Crepo had really had it pretty much under the tower early on.
Yeah, that tower obviously is going to help clean out the wave as quickly as possible, and actually Tabs took a pretty sizable CS lead. So in terms of some of the poke, Yellow Pete and Crepo, because they were so pushed up, they lost some of their minions to their opponent's towers, or, you know, back and forth to their own minions thanks to that massive wave, and basically it's put him in a little bit of a deficit. One thing that is good to see is that both Froggen and Zoro0 flashing those, you know, CC, those abilities very quickly is quite difficult to do, especially under the heat, the lights, and it's already been a pretty long day. Right now, 2 junglers and 2 mids grouping up in this mid lane, but Froggen's fairly low on mana, 140, so he's going to need to wait a little bit to be able to get a good combo down.
Yeah, actually going to be going home there. And that's the one thing that obviously is nice for a Morgana player, that once you get up to those 3 points in the Tormented Soil, it can wipe those minion waves out. And that's what he's going for. He is going to be having a lot of farm.
Yeah, basically that's what I was trying to mention before that last engage happened, is the fact that when you do play Morgana, if you allow the minion wave to stack up as it is now and you've put a good Tormented Soil down, you can clear the entire minion wave. Morgana is a very good pushing champion, but Ari is very good at pushing herself. So as long as both champions play their comps right, there shouldn't be too much lost CS to these towers.
So right now, a quiet start. Junglers trying to get in there a couple of times. Snoopy's actually headed down now into the Lemondogs jungle. They've seen him because of that ward over on the other curve bush. Let's see if he actually goes down. There's no ward in the tri-bush currently from We Will Failer.
No, and he doesn't have any wards in his inventory either. Level 6 Froggen is also roaming around the map. Now, this could just be to steal red buff. It should be respawning relatively soon. They're going to be aware that Dexter did that blue. Pink ward goes down immediately. Now, Snoopy's picking a fight. Look at the bottom lane. Sona's coming up, and immediately you see Crepo in range. So, EG, they want to make a play. They do have some good vision, but it's just a matter of time before we see who is actually going to show their cards first.
They should know that Snoopy's not gone here. Although, to be fair, if it had gone through that top side, that ward would have spotted him probably on the corner. So Dexter has been really careful about this one. The Demacian standard put down, and the fact that creep wave has come out, the Demacian standard will be spotted here by Dexter.
Dexter
so they know they're
stolen. Dexter thinks it's stolen. So Dexter walked past the camp, did not see them, cannot have vision around the corner. So his first instinct is that while I was taking wraiths, they took my red. He didn't waste more time to check the bush. That was actually smart play from Dexter, and very, very lucky for Snoopy, because there was no minions, there was nothing to signal that was happening.
Well, I'd have figured with the Demacian standard actually in there, you know, and the time that it's there, that he wouldn't have taken down that red buff in that time. Either way, doesn't matter. It was a good steal from Snoopy. Gonna get that blue buff over on towards Froggen. Of course, it was Froggen in the end who did pick that one up. He decided not to use his smite there, Snoopy, with that. And that's gonna mean a double buffed up Froggen, who's probably gonna be trying to put some good pressure down onto Nuke Duck in these coming moments.
That's actually really, really useful for Froggen in the mid lane. Yes, you know, you would ideally want that red on Snoopy to help clear, but his red is just respawned. So by giving that over to Froggen, or allowing it in Froggen, Morgana's auto attacks, which is a little bit of a slower attack animation, is going to hit significantly harder and just keep more pressure on Nuke Duck's Ari. So we'll see if he can, you know, extend the small 10 CS lead a little bit further with the help of those double buffs.
See that at the top Wicked and Zoro0 have been going head-to-head this entire time. Zoro0 actually got that giant spell on him right now, which honestly doesn't seem to be helping out too much against Wicked.
It's not going to, purely because of the fact that Wicked's abilities are percentage HP damage. So yes, stacking HP is going to help. Oh, that's a good flash. Wicked probably could have afforded to hit that, but he was afraid of an unstoppable force. Even though Zoro0 was low, if they'd comboed their abilities under the tower, he may have gone down. And Wicked's actually winning this lane with his Zac, so that's very good for the Evil Geniuses.
Well, right now, Evil Geniuses are pushing in towards his top turret. Let's see if Dexter can actually fend them off from this one. You'd imagine so. I mean, his auto attacks are pretty chunky when they come in. The anchor is not just for good looks.
Especially with that Titan's Wrath on. It actually does a lot of damage over time based on a percentage of his max HP as well. So, you know, it does play into his favor. We do see that Zoro is feeling a little bit of the pressure in that top lane. He grabs himself a Negatron Cloak as both of our mid laners miss their skill shots.
Yeah, I was just showing.
Or they dodge their opponents.
They both dodge their opponent's skill shots, showing just how good they are controlling.
I prefer that. That's much nicer than what I said.
Haunting Guys has come in now from Wicked, which means that, well, that Negatron Cloak itself is going to be a little bit less effective. Obviously not cancelled out completely by that one at this stage. But really a very pensive start to the game once again here. Both teams know the risk and know what the reward is here for winning this game.
Yeah, and especially because once the floodgates do open, it's going to be very difficult to contain your opponents. You've got all-in champions like Zac, Jarvan, and Morgana, and very similar on the other side, Malphite, Nautilus, and Ahri. Ahri needs to get within pretty close range to deal a lot of damage. So basically for both of these teams, whoever is able to get the item advantage will obviously be able to start snowballing ahead, controlling a lane or controlling the tempo of the game. And right now, it's just farm fest are us. Respective wins for EG on some lanes and LD for their AD carry.
Dexter actually tried to get in towards his bottom lane here. We will fail at putting himself a pink ward down so that he could keep that. So Froggen, Crepper, I don't know why I've got Froggen here in every single lane today. It's just Froggen on the brain somehow. It's probably that Morgana pick that's throwing me off. Dexter is still trying here to get in. And as I said, that does, as you can see on the minimap, start to recall. And Snoopy says, hey guys, red buff's up again.
Yeah, and he's waiting here for a very long time. There was a ping there on Tribush, so they're thinking that Dexter may be pushing towards the bottom lane. Now take a look at vision. There is no vision down in this bottom lane here for either of Tabs or We Will Fail. I think they've just realized it. Here comes Snoopy from behind. He does have a Cataclysm. Is he going to catch anybody? That's the question. No is the answer.
Hey, he actually gets pinned to the wall there, and they're going to try and turn this one around. Brilliant crescendo comes in. Snoopy is going to go down. The teleport was actually cancelled there, I think. First blood going over to We Will Fail, but Tabs may end up going down.
Now Yellow Pete's going to carry on chasing double flashes, and there's the barrier.
There is that barrier that we were talking about earlier on, and now Dexter coming in here. Has he got the damage to take down Yellow Pete? Probably not, but Nuke Duck will have as the charm lands in onto him, and that is 2 kills in the bottom lane for Lemondogs.
Massive play there for Lemondogs, getting the double kill. The teleport was interrupted by Zoro because Wicked dove in there. Wicked charged up the elastic slingshot, bounced all up in his face, and prevented Zoro joining that party. Unfortunately, that was a bad gang to begin with. Snoopy missed his knockup. He was unable to land on We Will Fail until after his vision, after he regained vision. But nevertheless, 2 for 1 at the end of the day.
So that barrier.
That barrier, 1 for 0. Sorry for doubting you, Tabs. It appears in that engagement it worked perfectly.
Yep, saving his life there, got himself the assist and got away. Yellow Pete did pick up a kill, which has given him the Sheen and the Spirit of the Elder Lizard for now going in there. So working his way up to that blue Ezreal build. But if we look at the CS, he is starting to fall behind. And as we know, Vayne just going to get harder and harder to play against.
Yeah, going to be so difficult, and especially when you start talking about the actual damage output that can be put down. Blue Ezreal is never ever going to match up with a Vayne in terms of straight 1v1. You can actually see the duel right here.
Yep, knocked away there. Tabs didn't want to do too much or take too much damage there. And yeah, and that was pretty much max range there as well, I think. Tried to dodge it, but not quite. So in the other lanes, let's have a look down the CS. Froggen doing a great job of the farm. 141 to 121. Nice solid 20 CS lead. Got Negatron Cloak, got these Sorcerer Shoes and a couple of Doran's rings in there as well. On the other side, Phoenix Codex, but that's pretty much, you can swap that out actually for that Negatron Cloak. Other than that, the same.
Yeah, but exactly the same for the time being. Nuke Duck, however, is that CS behind because he roamed to the bottom lane. So because he ran down there to pick up that kill, it worked out for him. But of course, Froggen was continuing to push, and it's actually, there's not all that much damage in those 2 mid lane turrets just because both champions are able to clear waves. And now that we actually look at it, there's a lot of wave care from all of these champions involved. You've got splash damage for Zac, for Jarvan, for Morgana, even Ezreal a little bit once he gets those gauntlets completed. And then of course, Malphite, Nautilus, Ahri, they'll be able to clear waves very, very quickly. So when sieging does begin to happen, probably that little bit of extra range from Ezreal will play into EG's favor.
And we've got 14 minutes and 40 seconds into this game without seeing a dragon being taken down right now. And I know that Lemondogs are pretty much the most prolific dragon-taking team in the LCS Summer Split so far. Captain Kaplan would have to give you the exact stats on that one, but we definitely know that out of them. And as I say, that EG started off.
So they do start it off, but the question is, will the prolific Dragon killers be able to score themselves another one? Teleport coming into the river. Dragon is picked up by EG. The hook misses, but they still want to play.
They've actually gotten onto We Will Fail, but the crescendo will land onto a couple of them here. Crepo will put the wild growth on himself. A little bit selfish, but does the job. As a yellow peak comes in from the side. Snoopy going very, very low. It's Ari that picks up the kill, but Dexter is falling low. He will dredge line himself away. Zoro starting to fall, gets slowed down by Wicked. Has to use the unstoppable force, which I honestly thought had been used a little bit earlier on, and I'm somewhat unsure as to why he didn't.
So he does manage to get away. One thing that was very important there was that Morgana jumped in with the soul shackles, tried to stick to Vayne, and she was instantly condemned into the wall, stunned up because the black shield had actually worn off. So Froggen's ultimate was on Sona as well as Vayne, and it did nothing other than initial damage. Good on Snoopy to land that last auto attack to pick up the kill. They get the dragon, they get the tower, and they get a couple kills out that. So Evil Geniuses will be very, very happy with that trade.
Yeah, 2,500 gold is the lead that they have from this one, with that tower going down as well. And a 1,200 gold purse here for Ezreal. Obviously Yellow Pete to spend the next time, I say the next time he goes home, that's exactly what he did just do, and picked up that chain vest. We see Morgana with the Abyssal Scepter now done. On the other side though, for Nuke Duck, we have the Needlessly Large Rod done.
The one thing that I'd like to see how this battle actually plays out is how they deal with the super tankiness. Wicked is being very aggressive, jumping onto Nuke Duck, putting some wards down, and this is something that we haven't seen EG doing yet throughout the LCS, is aggressive warding and aggressive jungle play. They're well aware of their opponent's buff timers, and I mean, you've seen their Wicked. He jumped in because he knew blue buff was up, and he's still running some interference while the rest of his team takes this mid turret.
Yeah, and that's nicely done from him as well. We Will Fail, obviously, is very, very squishy. Actually flashes away there as a True Shot Barrage comes through as well. They're going to try and hold them off this turret, but I think they might have it here.
So it's going to go down completely for free. We Will Fail is running a little bit scared. Very nervous of that Dark Binding Soul Shackles combo that could come out from Froggen, plus all that additional damage. I still remember when we were watching competitive Morgana, if a Dark Binding lands in the mid to late game, that's it, you're pretty much dead. So basically, you have to avoid that. That's a must-dodge ability, no matter what it costs you.
There was Tabs in the meantime, though, pushing out this bottom turret. Gets Lemondogs their first of the game, and gets rid of the 500 gold difference. 500 gold difference that was on the two. Never mind. I have no idea where I was going with that. It was 2,500, it's now just 2,000. There we go. That's a lot more simple. Zoro might be in trouble here at the top, though.
Yeah, so it does look like they're caught out a little bit. Dexter eats a Dark Binding as well as sitting on that tormented soil. Remember that the longer you stand on it, the more magic resist you will actually lose. So that combined with your Abyssal Scepter is going to make Morgana and Zac actually hit very, very hard, especially because you've got another penetration item in Zac with the Haunting Guys. So EG still showing that there is safety in numbers, and they're playing a roaming game. They're sticking together in these little groups of 2, 3, and 4 and pushing objectives down. If they had stayed group in the top lane, they may have gone for that third tower. Instead, they see there's an opportunity by roaming through the jungle, but they both walked over a ward.
Well, the thing is, Ari is in that mid lane right now, which, in the top lane, which may allow a bit of pressure into this mid lane, but in the end, just backing away. So, some Fire Cape was just finished in there as well for Zoro, and we go into a bit more of a passive time in this match.
It's actually been a very passive game, to be honest. It's been a full laning phase. We had straight up matchups, which is something we don't see all that often at all. So, this is now the abnormal game, so to speak. And basically, as far as mechanics go, both of these teams are very, very equal. Froggen does have that additional CS thanks to Nuke Duck roaming around in the early stages of the game. And, you know, top and bottom 10 CS apart, but swapped opposite, it basically balances out.
Snoopy just picking up Spirit of the Ancient Golem there. pretty much the same time as Crepo got the Ruby Sightstone. So plenty more vision going to be coming out, and that's going to help them. And what you were touched on a little bit earlier on of getting those wards down across the Lemondogs jungle. Now that mid turret is in fact out of the game, we have Dragon coming up in 1 minute and 40 seconds, and that's where we've seen most of the action up until now by that first Dragon spawn.
Yeah, and that's basically the signal that these teams, they're not I don't want to use the word confident, but they're not able to push one another's lanes. Wicked and Zoro were actually killing one another's creep waves on opposite sides of the river because they can't kill one another really. They're both very beefy, very tanky. What's this D-Man like to say? Two fat lads from Grimsby bashing up against one another. And basically, until an objective is actually contested, this laning, farming, EG timing game is going to continue.
And I feel sorry for the guys from Grimsby, not because they're from Grimsby, but because Steven hates on them so much. So make sure you give him some abuse back for that one. Although that's definitely a Northern English thing going on there.
Very small number of people, I imagine.
Yeah, I think so. Probably the same amount who come from my hometown. Pretty similar sizes there. But anyway, enough of that. The game, I say that, and you know, really the game at this point is farm from both teams. But with that Dragon now in half a minute, we may see some action.
That's the thing about this, because of the compositions, even though it is still incredibly slow placed right now, the moment somebody overextends or puts themselves in a poor position, we're going to see a very hard engage. And remember that Zoro Zero does have teleport, so he's going to be able to, you know, join any of these fights as quickly as possible. Wicked is about to run up here, and I think Zoro Zero might get himself baited into a 2v1 situation. It does look like he's backed away in time. The rest of the Lemondogs are simply not in the right place, so another almost fight becomes almost nothing until Froggen shows up. If this Dark Binding lands, Zoro's in trouble.
Yeah, he does, and actually the Les Pals almost knocked him away there. Soul Shackle's coming in, and there is the unstoppable force. The elastic slingshot from Wicked, and the slow will surely tie this up. Froggen lands it with a Tormented Soil, but while there's two men top, Zoro Zero wasting time for his team to be able to pick up the Dragon.
Definitely a fair trade. Losing that little bit of gold, or you know, giving that over to your opponents for being able to pick up Dragon is much more important. Wicked needs a charm for his troubles. Nukeduck puts a lot of damage down to him, but now we see the Lemondogs are out of position to defend this mid turret. Tabs went a very long way around, so by the time they get you, it's already a third of the HP taken off.
Are they going to be able to push through to this one? Next minion wave coming down here shortly as they try to latch on to Wicked. What? That doesn't quite work for them. Yellow Pete and Co. pushing in there now. The Dark Binding's coming out from the side, and that's the danger with the Iceborne Gauntlet now. The danger is that they can slow someone down, and it makes a Dark Binding, for example, a lot easier to land.
And if that one isn't enough, you can get slowed by that, you can get slowed by a Glitter Lance, and that's just going to allow Froggen to set his sights and lock onto you. So, and we talked about it, if you get caught by a Dark Binding, you're practically dead. So, for the first time since that first red buff, second red buff rather, Evil Geniuses are going to steal the buff away. And is a very good invade, and it's thanks to those wards. Look at the vision in and around the mid lane. Unfortunately, because they've backed off, Lemondogs now have positioning on this mid turret. They're going to have to tank it if they want to take it down.
That is a lot of damage coming out very quickly. It just shows you that Vayne with extra attack speed coming in, Blade of the Ruin King, and doing good amounts of damage. There's another Dark Binding coming in, not quite got the range to lock down one man from Lemondogs. Wicked, 20 CS ahead here, is doing a good job of constant pressure in this top lane as well. Got that Spirit Visage now added in. Good magic resist, and of course going to help him when he picks up those blobs.
Yeah, exactly. Just helps all of those health and regeneration effects, so it's going to make it even more cost efficient to actually use your abilities, especially once he starts to lose a little bit more effective life. Right now, he's all the way down on that inner top turret. Zoro Zero's teleport, we've seen it used twice. Once was interrupted, second time resulted in a team fight, which they technically lost if you look at the bigger picture. And we'll have to see whether or not he can make it effective. EG still holding on to that 2 and a bit 1,000 gold lead.
Well, it looks like they're going to go for another turret here. Inner top lane as Lemondogs are coming around from the backside, but Vayne is in the bottom lane, and with that, EG should know that they've got a chance.
Yeah, as long as she's in the wrong lane, Vayne's not going to be able to make it any impact. Zoro Zero eats himself a Dark Binding, got Barrage to clear out the wave, and right now, EG are just doing the best they can to put damage down, but look how quickly that wave dies. They do have very good wave clear, that is the Lemondogs, so it makes sieging just a little bit more difficult.
They're able to heal up as well. We talked about this in the last game with that sonar in there. That heal, not to be underestimated when you're trying to siege up turrets and putting the poke down, although, you know, the likes of Froggen and Yellow Pete will have their Mystic Shot and Dark Binding on pretty low cooldown anyway, so it's hard to keep the heals in sync with how much damage has been done.
In addition to that as well, there's actually some natural sustain coming out of the EG lineup as well. Morgana's got built-in spell vamp. Zach's going to be able to get a lot of HP back. You see, we've even got a lot of HP and mana per 10 in Yellow Pete thanks to that Spirit of the Elder Lizard. So they've got some natural or some items and some passives to get health back, which does mean that if they take any poke themselves, they can bring it back a little bit more. And outside of Ari, there's actually no ranged poke at all for Lemondogs. And you can't really counter Orb of Deception as poke when it's one of her primary damage tools.
Exactly. It's rather dangerous to use it for that. Tabs here going to be taking his red buff. They started finally now, Lemondogs, to get a few wards out as EG backed off, but Crepo quite frankly backed off to pick up an Oracle, which means those wards probably all going to be weeded out here. There's one in the Baron Pit, one just off to the curve brush at the side there, and they're going to find themselves once again in a bit of a stranglehold position.
Yeah, that's a very new Oracle's Elixir, so he's going to be clearing out these wards as best as possible. We actually seen the True Shot Barrage going across the Baron as well, so EG were a little bit nervous that they'd given up positioning and they used that cooldown just to investigate, just to see if it was going on. Crepo actually during the Spring Split was very, very vocal about a 20-minute Oracles and was pretty much saying how that's sort of the standard. That's when you need to be able to start roaming and clearing vision. This one a little bit later thanks to that extended laning phase. And very crucially, Zhonya's Hourglass has been completed for Froggen. No double Seekers for this game.
No double Seekers this time around. Too soon, I think, yes. DFG as well in there for Ari. We're seeing pretty much every Ari that gets to this stage of the game going in for that item as well. Looks like going to be headed towards that Abyssal Scepter second.
The thing that I like about that is Ari actually does change. You are right that picking up that Abyssal Scepter, picking up the DFG are sort of core items on Ari, but it does... The build order differs depending on who you're facing against. So, for example, against the Zac, the Morgana, there's not all that much physical damage, therefore you go Abyssal Scepter quite quickly. We've seen Ari's rushing Zhonya's Hourglass, and we even seen Foreigner Lord picking up the Hextech Gunblade, which, with a lot of ability power, has the potential to deal more damage than a DFG, at least as far as the active ability is concerned.
Yeah, and the fact is the spell vamp that you get back from that was healing him for almost half of his health by the end of the game, as well as we are going to see them going in. Dark Binding, no, not connecting him. That is the go. That is the go here for Evil Geniuses. If a Dark Binding lands, they hit it, they fight. If not, they're a lot more cautious.
And their entire team can jump in. Jarvan, Zac, Ezreal, if they hit it, all four of them are going to be in your face saying what you're going to do about it. Put you into a 5 versus 4 situation. If anyone does run the risk of going low when they commit, they're instantly going to be wild growth, and that person's going to have that extra lease on life. So it does look like it's working out very well from them. The previous Dragon did go to Lemondogs for free, and this Dragon is now going to go for Evil Geniuses.
True Shot Barrage does literally nothing to Zoro. We have noticed there the last couple of times. He's most probably going to be taking his top tower down, but Evil Geniuses, of course, will have themselves that dragon away. They even tried to put some pressure onto that mid lane there with Nuke Duck's Ari. Didn't work out for them, though. That was forced away by Wicked. They're stealing a couple of jungle camps as they go as well, so I guess it's not all bad for them, but with the dragon pickup, definitely a big thing for Evil Geniuses, and they may now have the inner bottom turret.
Well, this is the types of games that we were making jokes about the Evil Geniuses for in the past. We do see these two very tanky champions in this top lane. You mentioned how beefy Zoro is looking, and the truth is that with that Sunfire, with that Abyssal, it's going to be pretty difficult to actually burst him down. He's got a lot of resistances, a lot of max HP, close to 2,600 already at level 16. And basically, until we see like a last whisper in the hands of Yellow Pete, or maybe even some more ability power for Wicked and Froggen, he's going to survive an eternity in these team fights.
So, EG once again going to be stacking up here in that middle lane. Again, Crepo going to be trying to get his wards down, and there's none actually there. I think there is the one on the actual Baron itself. I don't think there is, to be honest. I think that's actually going to be completely clear for them here. So they're going to be able to ward the entirety now of this blue buff area.
Oh, EG, they just missed it, but they managed to catch Nuke Duck, who's even better than catching We Will Failure. They were stacked up to contest for this blue buff. I don't think that EG have vision, so let's see if we can get a blind steal. Dog binding took it!
Yeah.
The dog binding took it!
That timing from Froggen, I say timing, it was just a blind shot straight through there into the brush, and it worked out nicely for him, picking that one up, stealing it away more importantly from Nuke Duck, and now they're going to push into a turret in the mid lane, in the inner mid, which is less than half health.
And that was all thanks to that previous push that they were doing. Evil Geniuses are playing the map superbly here. That blind steal was great, really just showing Froggen's understanding and knowledge and when to actually fire that out. But more importantly, it wasn't body blocked. And you need to do that when you know your opponents are timing your buffs and trying to steal them. So another buff goes the way of Evil Geniuses. And it does look like we're going to have that 70-minute game we were talking about earlier in the weekend. It's definitely a slow one so far.
Definitely a slow one, but EG's showing that I think this is what their plan was to get some wins on the board here, to say, you know, we used to be amazing. We used to be beating teams like this for, you know, eating them for breakfast almost, and that was with this style that they're going with right now, so why not keep playing that? They've had trouble, they've said it themselves, switching to Season 3 and how the items work and how the game has been played, so why not give this one a go again? Because I think everyone's forgot how to play like this.
I can agree with that, and I also think it's going to be even more pressure on Lemondogs. You know, Lemondogs are a team that have come into this and they've smashed a lot of people. They've played fantastically well during the promotion tournament, and how many games does Lemondogs have under their belt that have gone 45, 50, 55, 65 minutes long? I guarantee you that it's not going to be the same number of games as EG, nor at the same level. So the risk of them making more mistakes or cracking under the pressure or feeling the weight of it is going to be significantly higher than that of EG. So, you know, they're playing to their strengths, and you've got to give props to EG because they're still in the driving seat.
Yeah, they are doing extremely well. There's no doubt about that one. Looking very promising for a victory here as Froggen actually chasing Zoro down that bottom lane, and he was really scared of that binding coming out there. Auto attack him, just scare you away, just get out of this lane, get back towards your team. Right now, Evil Genius actually in the jungle by the red buff. Are they going to be able to catch anyone?
So Snoopy's just joining this little group of geniuses right now, positioning wards as they go. Getting as much vision now. Oracles are on both of the support players, so at least a lot of vision is going down. We do see Dexter, he's about to run into a wicket. The slow is down. Dark Binding misses, and both teams just saunter on away from one another. I said EG were in the driving seat. It's just a pity they're driving 20 miles an hour. Finally, the fight breaks out. That's an exhaust down on Tabs. The other go.
Tabs right at the front here. That's very dangerous for him as he gets locked up inside Cataclysm. He's a dead man. There is Froggen right in the middle of him, and he's going to catch 3 with the ultimate there. He locks them down. We Will Failure is dead. Now they move on towards Zoro, and he is a dead man as well. It's all up to Wicked on the top side to catch Nautilus. He pulls that one out. And that is an ace for Evil Geniuses. And look at their health bars. They've not lost any health.
You took my line, Yo Miller. They took no damage in that previous fight at all. And you said it in the build-up. You said how Evil Geniuses used to be known for their team fights, used to be known for their control and their coordination, and they just demonstrated it right there. 20 seconds on the clock, they can get the tower easily. They should be able to stick around for the inhib and then back off, place some more wards, and start challenging for Baron.
Yeah, that was typical Season 2 Evil Geniuses there, fighting inside of the jungle, executing everything brilliantly. Froggen, with that ultimate, with those soul shackles, hit 3. It was about to hit the 4th just before it actually proc there at the end to get the stun off. He is now 3-0-4. Wicked Zack 2-0-4. Yellow Pete at 2-1-5, and this plan that Evil Geniuses have come into this game with against Lemondogs is working out sublimely for them.
Yeah, it's completely perfectly constructed. And one of the things that was so great about that engagement, Crepo did not hesitate to exhaust Vayne. Tabs was then under pressure because he felt, I'm exhausted, they're going to jump on me. But they didn't do it that very second. So when they eventually did, a moment or two later, he flashed in defense. And at that exact second, Snoopy just said, you ain't going nowhere. Put the Cataclysm down. Wicked hopped in, bounced around with him inside the Cataclysm, and Tabs and Vayne could go nowhere. When you're caged in that rock circle thing, that's it. You're finished. And that's exactly what happened. Barrier did not save him that time, but then neither would have cleansed.
So where are EG going to be going now? Baron of course, is a possibility. They've got 7,000 gold lead. Is that a lead that they are scared to throw away here, as they might catch Lemondogs out?
I think they might try beta Baron fights. Knowing that they're in an advantageous position, they're going to wait for the minions, that 6th man, to roll around the map, wait for the top and the bottom lane to be pushing, wait for the super minions in the mid lane, to get towards the base, and then say, right, now that we've got the minions working for our side, now that the minions are attacking the Lemondogs base, now we start to, contest Dragon, and either Baron rather. Either win Baron or win a team fight.
Right now, no wards actually down. Zoro0 here at the front. Dark Binding actually missed, but here comes Wicked over the side. They've got him towards Nukedog. He's going to be forced completely out of the fight here. He goes very, very low as well. Zoro0 is doing good amounts of damage as Snoopy goes down to Tabs. Are they going to be able to kill Wicked off here? He gets his passive popped. Froggen has a wild growth on him, and look at Tabs. Still very, very healthy with this one, and he's going to try and chase down more. Actually has to tumble away in the end as we get the flash in. The Yellow Peak goes aggressive. Can he get any more from this? Dark Binding from Froggen. Smashes into Ari, and that is a 4-for-1.
4-for-1 at the end of the day, and that was a fight that Evil Geniuses were very, very brave to pick. They did not focus Tabs down in the beginning. They tried to jump onto Nukedog's Ari, and they simply couldn't pop him quickly enough. He was one of the last people to die because they threw so much at him, and Lemondogs practically shrugged it off. Nevertheless, thanks to the control and the damage that they do have, they were able to close that one out. And I don't think Wicked's passive was even proc during that. So
yeah, it was.
Was it? So there we go. That was where he got his HP back. So very well played at the end of the day. And, a good fight, even though they didn't have the right target from the very beginning.
And it was actually a 3-for-1, I believe, because Zoro0 didn't actually die towards the end of that. He was super low on health, but did manage to escape it. Either way, it's going to be a Baron picked up here for Evil Geniuses. 2,000 gold for the AD carry to spend. Few of them have around that as well. 1,200 here for Wicked, as we see a last whisper for Yellow Pete, and another Oracle here for Crepo coming out as well. And EG, to say they're in the driving seat is a bit of an understatement. Yeah,
this is completely their game. They have been in control from the get-go. In terms of picking up the first blood, even though they lost that dragon very, very early on, for the most part, the fights that they've picked, the engagements, the angles that they've gone in have been very good. And the one thing that stands out for me above everything else that we've seen them do is just the jungle presence that they've had. A lot of these fights have resulted from deep wards and from invading. It hasn't resulted from playing in the lane. It hasn't resulted from teleports. It's been proactive, a proactive approach to this map and this game.
So, with that Baron on now, Evil Geniuses, if I know this playstyle from Evil Geniuses well enough, it's not going to be finished just yet.
I'm not
at least
sure.
2 more Barons to go before that happens.
I'm not sure what gives you that idea.
Yeah, they're going to go in on towards that inner turret at least. Probably have a go at sieging down on this inhibitor turret as well.
Look at the bottom lane. There's 2 waves of minions stacking up, so there'll be super minions there very, very shortly. In the top lane, I think it's pushing against EG for the time being, but you'll most likely see them roll up very, very quickly once the super minions hit that bottom wave. And basically, this is now just a time game. Now that they're in complete control, we're going to see the very, very... I don't know if the word critical is the right word, but just the by-the-book play that EG always likes to do, getting every single tower in every single lane, pushing it down slowly.
I think calculated is
That's
the word.
the word I was looking for. That was the word.
Close enough.
I knew it ended in ated.
Critical doesn't end in ated.
Don't start. Don't start. It's been a long day, and right now EG are slowing the pace of this game down. Super minions on the Nexus turrets, and once again, EG are just sieging up. Dark Binding is core world failure, and that hurts a lot.
Yeah, half of his health going to be gone from that one, trapped on top of the Tormented Soil. Are they going to hit the tower at some point? I think Demon needs to get in here for this little siege.
Dark Binding on Zoro0 plus a Mystic Shot. That's actually not doing all that much. That's a little bit over 3,000 HP on Malphite with the Randuin's Omen plus the magic resist from the Merc Trades as well as that Abyssal Scepter. It's definitely playing into his favor. And we can actually see a very animated D-Man in the background yelling, "Hit the damn tower." And we'll see if Yellow Pete can actually hear him. I mean, he can't because he's got soundproof headphones on.
Exactly. And he's through a wall at this point as well. As Charm's coming out, Dark Binding's rolling out there as well. Yellow Pete making sure those minions have gone down before he pushes in. Sadly for him, his minions are down as well as Crepo gets hooked in. He's going very low from this one. Charm not quite landing, and Crepo's used a wild growth on himself.
That was a bit overzealous. I think Crepo was actually anticipating Nukeduck maybe coming in with the ultimate, popping Ignite down and coming backwards, so it was very defensive. And Evil Geniuses off the 3.5, 4 minion waves simply did not touch the tower, not once. Right now, though, they have backed away. Dragons respawn. This is going to be yet another global objective in favor of Evil Geniuses. And I got to be honest, most of this Baron has probably not been used to its utmost potential.
They've not... okay, they've taken down 2 towers now with that, right? So that's good. That's good from Evil Geniuses. That's a step forward. And I don't want to be too critical of this playstyle, even though, quite frankly, it is not the most thrilling League of Legends to watch, but it is a way to win games. There is no rule that says you have to win games by having 4,000 kills in a game that only lasts 20 minutes, you know?
Could we implement that rule?
I wouldn't mind that rule, but it's obviously not there. And the thing is, Evil Geniuses are doing it the way that they know best how to win a game, and you can't fault them. What they're actually doing here is textbook brilliance.
This is the first time in a very long time we've seen this level of control from the EG lineup. You know, we do tend to see them playing a little more chaotically. It's how they beat Fnatic, and it's really good to see this patience coming out of the players. We've seen Froggen delaying picking up the blue buff just a couple seconds so that he picks it up on a very easily timed time. You know, this time around it was 39 minutes 20. A moment ago it was like 34 minutes 25. He intentionally delayed it a couple seconds just to make sure that it's easier to keep track of when it's respawning and making sure he doesn't miss out on it. Right now though, Froggen, as the rest of the Evil Geniuses are moving towards this top lane now, the bottom inhibitor has spawned and the siege will now be on for another turret from the Lemondogs.
Yep. Let's see if they can manage to hook anyone in from this one, though. I think Dexter could be one of the biggest keys here for Lemondogs if they're going to do anything. We saw earlier how they managed to take down Crepo very low, force him to use that wild growth on himself, and it looks like Lemondogs have actually forced Evil Geniuses away from their base.
Yeah, in a similar position, Zoro is obviously going to be able to have a very big impact with that unstoppable force if he's able to make his way in. Zoro, very good reaction times there. There's the hook. Snoopy's been caught, and nobody from Lemondogs is willing to engage on that one yet. They're actually afraid of the counter-engage. If they jump in and they're stacked up too tightly, Jarvan and Zac will just knock them all up in the air, and it's impossible to deal with that knockup. Not only will they get knocked up from that, you're going to have the wild growth on top of it as well. Finally, Charm does land on Crepo again. Dexter's been knocked in the air, and it's going to result in nothing in this particular engagement either.
Yeah, it's nice and tanky though as well, so it shouldn't really be too much of a problem. They'll only go, I feel, on that if they actually hit someone that, you know, they can actually take down, which is not really going to be. We could have been Yellow Pete though, as that one is very close to landing to him. Right now that Baron buff has ran out. We've got a minute to go, and I predicted 3 Barons before the game goes out, and it looks like to me that we could possibly see number 2 at least.
Yeah, damn you, Joe Miller. We'll see how that works out. With a minute on the clock, Evil Geniuses will try to take down this inhibitor first. If they can get super minions pushing into the Lemondogs base and then shop a little bit of money they've got, they can obviously pick up that Baron a little safer. Probably repeat what picked up that Baron previously. Try picking engagement around the river. Force Lemondogs' hand. The slow is down, but the dark binding is not. Keep a very close eye on Froggen's positions, because when it does catch a champion, that might be the signal to go. Snoopy's charmed up, and we're pretty much just waiting for the fight.
Yeah, still hanging back though. Don't want to go in on that one. We see the inhibitor down to less than half HP as Wicked. Half in there, half out. Tabs actually used his ultimate there, as they are going to put down some good damage. They're going to go in for this one. Zorazir though is going to pop Snoopy from that. He tries to run away for the top side. Froggen having to use that Zonya's Hourglass. Wicked going to take a lot of damage here as well now. He is actually going to go on a killing spree before his passive is popped underneath the tower. That means 2 of them go down, and right now it's a 1-for-1, and Lemondogs have the base. They can heal themselves up from this one. See Shirelia's Reverie pop. That gets them out of range there of the anchor from Dexter, and EG back away.
They did manage to pick up the inhibitor though, so 1-for-1 exchange, and Wicked getting caught is what resulted in that team fight. I'm going to call that a loss. That was a team fight loss for EG. We did see a flash from Froggen, dove in there, put the soul shackles on, but didn't manage to stun anybody up, and very crucially, no Cataclysm usage, because Snoopy got knocked out of the air, insta-gibbed by the members of Lemondogs.
Yeah, I didn't even have time to use his flash, so not good at all. Baron is available.
Again.
Of course, had Baron number 2. Real question on my mind is whether Lemondogs will try and challenge for it this time around. They are more than 10,000 gold behind at this stage. Baron, if they can pick it up, helps them bring that back. If they end up getting ace in a Baron fight, though, this is GG.
This is GGEG, in fact. So we'll see if that works out for them. Crepo with yet another Oracle's Elixir. He's clearing out the wards, clearing out the vision. We see Zoro0 teleport is still up. I don't think we've seen more than 2 teleports this entire game. So he's going to be able to split push and try counterbalance the power of those super minions. If, of course, he can keep them at bay, it makes this siege, or it makes this slower pace game a little bit simpler for the Lemondogs to play. In terms of CS numbers, we haven't looked at them. Even in the top lane, 30 CS in the mid. Wicked is charging up the slingshot. They've got vision. It's a long distance, but I think it's timed out. He's going to need to wait for the cooldown again. They've got vision. Here's the teleport coming in. They're going to be well aware of this. And the call is back. Call is defensive. Teleport cancelled. Cooldown used. Number 3 to 0 effect.
Now they should fight. They know that Malphite, well, obviously I've been hoping that for a while here, but I mean, that Malphite's got to walk back now. They know that. They know that that teleport's not going to be there, but EG don't want to fight here. And Lemondogs are going up the middle. EG are going half down. Are they going to come up? No, they're going to go for a bit of a base race here, which Lemondogs, will they win? Will they lose this one? It looks like they're going to back off to me. They're going to back out straight away.
This is the most socially awkward base race I've ever seen.
Yeah.
EG were not fully committed to it. The calls were split. They're going to be able to pick up the inhibitor turret completely for free. Recalls are in. Home guard boots. Ari is running forward, and they don't even trade towers. That was a free tower for EG based on positioning, but it was a very awkward positioning to begin with.
A very tense game here between Evil Geniuses and the Lemondogs. As we mentioned, that Baron is available for the taking. Dragon as well. But no one cares about Dragon at this point, because the Baron's alive, and whoever goes for Dragon is going to lose Baron.
Oh,
here we
face
go,
check.
Zoro0 is going to face check it, but look how much damage he's taking. Not a lot, I tell you, as we see Snoopy sliding on top of him. Are they going to fight? No, Lemondogs want away from this.
I cannot believe that. No flash is used, no unstoppable force used there at all. Malphite takes all that damage. He man modes it up and says, Evil Genius says, I am an unstoppable force rock. You can do nothing to me, and walks away from it. He didn't even pop his Randian's Omen. I mean, he didn't even use the Randian's Omen active. The moment Snoopy jumped forward, he panicked because he realized he was going to be in trouble. And he decided to back off. The slingshot is charged. Wicked's jumped in. He has a fight.
Yeah, We Will Fail and may not be able to survive this one. As I say, it completely survives and
Bounce,
they back off.
Wicked. Bounce. If he had bounced, that would have been a dead Sona. But he opted to err on the side of caution. And the question is, if they continue to err, will it cause an error and make them lose the game?
What? Here we go then. Baron going to be started by Evil Geniuses, and Lemondogs are nowhere near it because their base is being pummeled right now by those super minions. EG once again playing the clock perfectly in this one to make sure that those minions are pushing, holding Lemondogs back. As soon as they retreat to clear them, EG take Baron number 2.
Yeah, so basically yelling, all your base all belong to us, allowing the minions to continue pushing. They had that inhibitor down in the bottom lane, so the top and the mid lane is obviously going to push in their favor. And the longer they hold Lemondogs out of base, the more damage it's going to deal. You notice that Nexus turrets were down to about 50% HP on the right-hand one. So the next time Lemondogs try for, a base race or are caught out of position, they're very realistically backdoorable now as they've got 2 exposed lanes.
So Lemondogs push out, try and get as much as they can from the jungle because, well, if they don't, Evil Geniuses will quite happily take those buffs, especially away from them. See Crepo here, going to be forging a path for himself through the jungle with those wards that he's got, just to make sure that he doesn't get picked off and shut down inside of the jungle, which would leave them at a 4v5. Right now, Lemondogs stacking up by the inhibitor they want to defend.
So at this stage in time, I'm interested to see where Yellow Pete goes with this build. He does have that Banshee's Veil in there, got the somewhat blue Ezreal build, no Blade of the Rune King, so no active for the slow if Nautilus and Malphite dive onto him. Right now, though, they're just going to group up in this mid lane, start putting some damage down on the inhib. Yellow Pete decides he doesn't need to auto-attack it. Instead, continue spamming out those Mystic shots. Is landing them. Finally, they're going to get onto this inhib now. It will go down very, very quickly once they start to focus it. And they do not finish it off, in fact, deciding to back away.
Finally, they popped Yellow Pete's Banshee's Veil as well there. Zoro Zero was on the side of caution, getting in there, did get a shot off onto him. So, I mean, if he's got that Banshee's Veil up there, that unstoppable force is going to be useless against him, and that's what they wanted to make sure wasn't still in place. But the the Banshee's Veil now got a much lower cooldown, will be up here pretty shortly. These Evil Geniuses go in there. We are going to see them going in on towards Crepo there. DFG was used, and Wicked is now bouncing in the middle of them. There's the shackles from Froggen. Only going to lock Dexter up from this one, though. Wicked is going to get one. A double kill comes out from Froggen. This is surely good game right now. Tabs knocked in the air. Double kill comes out for Wicked, and they are going to surely push through for the win. They've got super minions coming. Only Sona remains. An Evil Genius is going to record a victory here against Lemondogs, taking them 50 minutes to do so. Why are they hitting the inhibitors? I have no idea. I think they're just trying to troll us with that one, but either way, they are going to take them down. Nexus going to be finished off, and Evil Geniuses pick up the win.
We talked about how Evil Genius